Welcome to another exciting Power BI tutorial. Today we will create a report on various statistics about some commonly known trees. In this tutorial, we will focus on learning how to use images and graphics as background and create unique dashboards. We will also learn to transform data using Power Query and DAX. We will also use the unpivot technique in Power Query. So, let's start our tutorial and create all these things in Power BI. Click on the Excel Workbook button on Home tab and select the Excel file containing trees data and open it in the Navigator window. Select the table named Data. This data needs transformation in the query editor, therefore click on the Transform button. This table will now be opened in the Query Editor window, where we can perform our desired transformation. We need all the tree names in one column and their values before them. To do that, we will select all the columns with tree names and go to the Transform tab. On this tab, we will click on the Unpivot Columns button and rename the attribute column to Trees. Now we have data in our desired format. The statistics titles are all in lowercase, which we will capitalize. Right-click on the column, go to the Transform section, and just click on the Capitalize Each Word menu item. Now our data looks much better and symmetrical. When done, go to the Home tab, and click on the Close and Apply button. After which the transformed table, along with all fields, will be available in the Data pane. We can further modify this data in the table view as well. We have some PNG images, which we will use in this dashboard. The name of these files matches exactly with the tree names in our table. So, we will just copy these images and open up an FTP server directory. And we will paste all files here. This is equivalent of uploading these images to any server. We can now copy this FTP address and paste it in a web browser. Add a file name to it and change it from FTP to HTTP. And now we can view these files in a web browser. Which also means we can now add them to our Power BI report as well. To do that, we will copy the URL without the file name, go to our Power BI report. Here, we will go to the table view and add a new column. We will call this new column Images. Here we will paste the URL inside the inverted commas and add the file name from tree column and the file extension as well, which is PNG. After completing the formula, press Enter or click on the OK button to create the column. We can perform a quick test on this column by going back to the report view and adding a visual with this column as data source. Let's add the images column to this visual. And as you can see, that the URL is displayed instead of images. We can change data category of this column to image URL to correct this problem. And now, the visual should display images instead of their addresses. We need large images, and all default visuals display small images. To display larger images, we will import a custom visual named Image Viewer. The custom visual added to the Power BI desktop application will appear below the default visuals on the Build pane. We will add this visual to our report and place it somewhere on our report temporarily. Now we will add the Images field to this visual and resize it according to the images. The Image Viewer visual is displaying images perfectly. Now we can start building our dashboard about these trees. We will add another page to our report and insert a text box visual at the top of the page for title text. Enter an appropriate title for your dashboard inside the text box visual. To prepare this page, we need to split the stats column into two columns. Let's call the first column Type and extract first 3 characters from stats column. The first 3 characters from stats column will provide us 3 words representing average, minimum, and maximum. We can use this column in a slicer to filter data by average, minimum, and maximum. We need another column to extract the actual statistic title from the stats column. The best and efficient way is to replace the average, minimum, or maximum in the stats column with a blank string and display remaining word in another column. We can use substitute function to replace average with a blank string. We can use substitute function again on the resulting string and replace the word minimum with a blank string. And then we can use the substitute function again to replace the word maximum from the resulting text, where we already replaced average and minimum with a blank string. And when done, we will apply this formula to add the column, which will only contain the statistic without the word average, minimum, or maximum with it. Now, we can go back to the report view and use these 2 columns in Slicer Visuals to filter the data in other visuals. Here, we will add the stat field to our dashboard, place the visual at top left corner, and change it to a slicer. Then we will add the type field to our dashboard, place the visual next to the slicer, and change it to a slicer as well. Now, select both visuals and in the slicer settings, turn on the single select option. To display and compare statistics of all trees in a single visual, we will add a bar chart to our dashboard. We will place this visual below the slicers in a symmetrical order. The tree names will be added to the y-axis of this bar chart, and the value field will be added to the x-axis. We can appropriately rename the value field. And we can test our slicers now, which seem to work very well. To display this information differently in a tree map, let's create a copy of the existing bar chart and place it in the right corner of the dashboard. Now we can simply change this bar chart into a tree map to display the same information in a tree map visual. We can remove the title from this visual or change it into something appropriate. For better visual appearance, we can turn on visual borders and set rounded corners as well. And this page is now complete. Now we will go to the other page and create another nice presentation of these statistics. Back to the page 1. Let's add a background to our canvas on page 1. You can add any picture you like. If the image is smaller or has different dimensions, you can use the fit or fill settings to adjust the background image. We can now delete this visual from the dashboard, which we previously created to test the image URLs. We will add another image to use as background for our numbers and statistics. You can create similar images in PowerPoint, or just copy one of the built-in Smart Arts. We will place this image in the right corner of the dashboard. Now, we will adjust the tree image to fit inside the image we just placed. And also move it backward, behind the image we are using as a frame. Let's copy the title text from the page 2 and place it here nicely. I think this looks good enough. Let's leave it there. Add the trees field to the dashboard and change its visual to a slicer. Now, change it to a drop-down from slicer settings and place it inside the rectangle. Increase the text size to an appropriate number. And remove background from this slicer to make it transparent. This is much better. You can also change the font color of this slicer to make it more visible. Choose a lighter color for better visibility on a dark background. Now, add the value field to your dashboard. Add the stats field to the filters and select the average area from the stats. Change the title if the value field to average area. Go to the Format settings and turn off the background of this card visual to make it transparent and blend in with the background nicely. Also, change the font color of the callout value to white to make it more visible on a dark background. Place this card visual inside one of the circles and resize it accordingly. Change the font color of category label to white as well to make it more visible too. Make sure to change the aggregate function to average on this card visual. Copy this card visual and place it inside the next circle. Select average height from the filter and also change the title of the value field to average height. Copy the card visual again and place it inside another circle. Select average life from the filter and also change the title of the value field to average life. Repeat the same steps for other two average values and place them inside the remaining two circles. Our dashboard is now complete. We can simply select a tree and see its statistics on this page. And on the other page, we can compare these statistics using a bar chart and a tree map visual. Thanks for watching. We hope you liked our tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insightful tutorials and updates.